This is a brief video on the Canon PowerShot A620 camera along with its underwater housing, and hopefully this will give you enough information on how to install the camera into the housing, deal with the O-ring that prevents water from going into the housing, and just some general operational information on the camera. So let's get started. Let's look at the camera. Pretty much your normal PowerShot camera. It is a point and shoot. There is a mode dial here that if you choose to do something other than auto, you can pick modes on the camera. So power button, press the button, camera turns on, and it's ready to shoot whatever you point it at. There's a switch here that changes it from shooting mode to playback, and so if I put it to playback, you can see the last picture I took of the pooch on the couch. And if I'm ready to shoot more pictures, I just slide the switch back to the camera position. And then several buttons on the back, which if you've used any digital camera will be familiar. Basically a menu button, a trash button, a printer button, display button. I think those are all pretty self-explanatory. So the housing is custom made for this camera only, and the reason that it's for this camera only is that for every button on the camera there is an equivalent button on the back of the housing. So everything from the power button, the shutter button, zoom, the back switch that goes from playback to shooting mode, and then all the individual little buttons. Alright, so let's pop this thing open. And the way you open this camera housing is there's a little slide button here. You can see this yellow button. You slide that button up and you pull the ejector forward, and that opens the housing and also slides the housing past the O-ring. And this yellow O-ring is all that's keeping the water from entering the camera housing. And if the water goes in the camera housing, you're essentially done. And at that point, Linda will be very unhappy. So please don't let water get past the housing. So the O-ring is the only thing that really needs any very specific maintenance. And the way you get the O-ring off is, and hopefully I'm capturing this, you take your fingers and just press with your fingers, slide down, it'll lift the O-ring up, and gently get a hold of it and then just peel it off. So now we've removed the O-ring. You can kind of see it's in a rectangular shape, and that's basically how it should go back on. The other thing that you won't be able to see on the video is the O-ring has a very light layer of lubricant on it that is really there to keep it soft and supple. And the way you lube this up is you put a very small amount of lubricant on the O-ring and between your fingers, and then you run the O-ring through it. So let me go get some silicone grease that I will include in the package for you, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so to lubricate the O-ring, what you want to use is this silicone grease that I have, and you don't need a lot of it. Let's see, that cap came out of there. You just need a little bit, so you take a tiny bit off. That's probably enough. Hopefully you can see that. Just rub it gently on your fingers, 3 fingers, and you run the O-ring around it. And the thing that's most important is you can't have anything on this O-ring like a hair, even just one tiny cat hair in the right place on this O-ring will cause a leak. So one of the things you want to check is you want to look around the seal of or around the mounting place for the O-ring and look for any debris, hairs, anything that could prevent the O-ring from sealing the water out. And what you can do is use a lint-free cloth and just wipe all the way around this seal. So I lubricated the O-ring, as you saw, and so I'm just, I ran the grease through my finger and then the O-ring through that. And to put it back on, I'm going to kind of find the rectangular form that it's in and get it back on, and you just pop it over the edge, and so now it's in there. And the other area to pay attention to is this inner lip here where the O-ring is going to press around. The inner lip is another area where you could get a hair or something in there, a speck of dirt or something that would prevent the O-ring from sealing fully. And again, if you don't have a good seal, you're going to get water in the housing and it will be destroyed in an instant. So basically, you don't want that to happen. The other thing that I pulled out here is an O-ring tool. So I showed you could pull this O-ring off by simply sliding your finger forward along the O-ring to get a big enough loop where you can grab it. It gets a little challenging to do when there's grease on it, but the other thing you can do is you can use this tool to gently pry the O-ring out, and so hopefully this is coming visible on the video, but you can slide the O-ring out that way. The key thing is you don't want to dig it out with anything sharp, because again, if you puncture the O-ring, you're going to have a leak in the camera, and that'll be the end of the life for the camera. Alright, so to install the camera, one more thing you need to know about, and that's this little white square of material. And this is a moisture muncher, and what it does is it takes care of any condensation that might build up in the housing. And you might ask, why would I have condensation in the housing? Well, so we're sitting in this nice air-conditioned room, and we're putting the camera inside, and then we're going to walk outside and with the housing closed. And the difference in air temperature outside versus the temperature in the camera housing is likely going to cause some condensation to build up. And generally where you'll see it is you'll see it on the lens port here. And of course, until that condensation disappears, your pictures will be fuzzy because of it. So this white square absorbs moisture, and what we're going to do is we will put the camera in, and all you do is slide the camera into the housing. You can see the power button here actually is touching, so if you look right there, the power button touches the power button outside touches the power button inside, and the next step is to put this moisture muncher inside. And so you want to put it in after the fact, and you just want to find a place where you can slide it in. I'm going to slide this one in just on the side here, and when I did that, you can see that it just rolled around to the side of the camera, and where it's not going to impact anything. You don't want it to be trapped or causing any pressure anywhere. Alright, so after that you just close the housing, and you take the ejector, which will now be the closer, and loop it across and gently push. And what you'll notice, if everything went well, is you'll be able to see, you can look at the O-ring all around the edge of the camera. Sorry, hard to do this one-handed, but you can inspect the O-ring all around the edge of the camera, at least most of it, and you can see whether or not you've got good capture. And it'll be hard to tell from this video, but you can actually tell by looking at it that the O-ring has gotten flattened by the pieces of plastic being pushed together, and that's what you want to see. So one other piece of this camera is this diffuser, and what this does is it takes the flash from the camera, which comes out of here, and it softens it so that hopefully your pictures won't show all the tiny particles that are in the water. So if there's a bunch of tiny particles and the water's turbid and you take a picture with a flash, what you're going to get with this configuration is all the little particles will sparkle, and they will cause your picture to not be as good as you would like it, and in some cases it may be that you don't even get the picture that you want. So now that the camera's in the housing and we snapped on the diffuser, which you can, this snaps on and just snaps on and off pretty simply. So you can decide whether you want to use it or not. It has this lanyard that keeps it on. Alright, so to turn the camera on when it's in the housing, you just press the power button, and voila, the camera's on. And if you wanted to review pictures that were already on the camera and it's in the housing, you don't have to take the camera out. You can operate every function just as it was when it was out of the housing. So for instance, this switch slides over the preview button, and if there were more than one picture, then I could press one of these 4 buttons here, and that would cause the picture to advance or go backwards, etc. And in this case, if I wanted to zoom in and see this picture, more up close to see whether I got good focus, I could just press the zoom button, which in playback mode serves as a zoom on the image that was captured. So pretty simple. Operates exactly as the camera operated without the housing. Now you just have these buttons that are outside. The one challenge is, and I recommend you get familiar with the camera, is you can't see what the buttons say anymore. So if you don't know that, for instance, this button where my thumb is the menu button, then you're going to have a hard time reading it on the plastic case, especially when you're in the water. They did try and engrave this on the plastic, but it's very hard to see, and probably doesn't even show up well in the video. Alright, so let's, again, this is in playback mode. If we slide this switch to the right, we go back to auto mode. And if we wanted to make any adjustments to the settings, we press the menu button, which I just did, and you can see all the various things that can be adjusted. And again, I'm just pressing the buttons on the top here, and moving the menu around, and then so these are the menu settings for the camera. These are the kind of lower level settings, time and date, and when if you want to get rid of all the data on the SD card, you can go down to the format, and when you select it, it's going to say, do you really want to format? And if you say OK, then it will format the camera memory, and it will delete anything that was on there. So use some caution there. I'm going to cancel this because I'm going to send you the camera with one picture on it, and that'll be that. And alright, so the other thing is this dial. So let's go back to picture shooting mode, and so to get rid of the menu you just press menu again and it goes away. We're in auto mode. This little dial up here rotates the function wheel, and so if I turn it one click, that puts the camera in program mode, shutter priority mode, aperture priority mode, manual. So this is full manual if you choose to be daring and you want control of everything. This is the mode for you. Custom mode, which you can set up various settings, perhaps settings that are specific to underwater versus auto mode, which would be maybe settings that are specific to above water. Standard, that's for video, it looks like, and oh yes, you can shoot video, so this is video mode. I guess I could try this out here. So if I take a shot, so now it's recording, and I'm recording the camera with one camera and the camera's recording something else. So you can take a look at my workbench here. What a mess. Alright, so I'll press stop and I'll leave you that fine video on there. Memory card full. I guess it does need formatting. Okay, well, we'll fix that before we send it to you. Alright, so rotating the dial again, you can do panorama and get it stitched together, special color mode, kids and pets, night scene, landscape, portrait, auto. So we're back to auto, and that's where I'll leave it. So that's basically how you use it. And so let's talk about real quick how to get the camera back out. So we put it in, and that was one thing, so that's all good. So hopefully this will show up. What you do to get it out is the same thing that we did to open it to get it in there, and that is we push this yellow button up. You can see that button's moving up, hopefully. Just use your thumb to slide it up, and then your other hand just to pull the ejector forward, and as you pull it forward it will separate the housing, and the camera comes out. Let me go ahead and turn it off, and you can slide it out. And one of the things that I recommend that you do, either with the camera inside or with it out, is with the housing closed, you want to dunk the camera into a bucket of fresh water and make sure to rinse out all the salt that will have built up in any of the seams, because the salt water is going to try and go everywhere and the housing is going to try and prevent it. But all of these outside areas where there's holes for the buttons, the water is going to creep in between the button and the plastic. So you dunk this in water and then just press all the buttons like I'm doing now, but while holding this underwater with the housing closed. Okay, so you don't want to flood the housing in any way, and you just press every button, move every lever while holding it under fresh water, and rinse, make sure the lens is rinsed and all of that. And generally, if you let the camera housing dry after being in the ocean, you want to soak the housing closed for even as much as an hour or 2 hours to let the salt dissolve and rinse away. If you rinse this right away after you've been in the water, then you don't have to worry about the salt drying and then having to a hard time getting rid of it. So that's the basic use. Camera has this lanyard which you can slide on your wrist like so, and if you slide this this little ball, that will prevent the camera from being able to slide off your hand. So if you're swimming with it and for whatever reason you need to let loose, you can let loose of it and it won't fly away from you. the housing itself, even with the camera in it, is going to be buoyant. So if you let this loose while you're underwater, it's going to float to the surface as opposed to sink. At least that's my recollection. And if you try and dunk this in a bucket of water, as I mentioned, to rinse it, you'll find that you have to press down to hold it underwater, because it's just going to float on the surface. So again, that's how you do it. The most important thing to preventing this from flooding and having to buy me a new camera and new housing is keep the O-ring clean, and keep the area around the O-ring free of debris. So again, look for debris, hairs, lint. So if you use a cloth to wipe the O-ring off, make sure you use a lint-free cloth like a lens cloth, so that you don't get any fibers from, say, a paper towel even. That's really the main foe of all things underwater as far as cameras go, is that the seal has to be perfect, and if it's not, you will get water in there. The moisture muncher will do some of the work if you got a very small amount of water in there, but typically if you get water in, that's pretty much it. It will ruin the electronics before you can get it out and prevent anything else from happening. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to mention is, once you have taken your shots and you want to download them, there's a little port here on the side. You just kind of snap it forward. It's a little bit delicate, so you don't use your big muscles to do it. And then there's a standard USB connector there. It's the old type, so it's not the one that's on new cell phones. Let's see if I can get a good shot. It's the slightly bigger connector than the micro that is on brand new cell phones. And the other way to get the information off the card is to slide this lever forward. Let me do that again. You just push forward, open, and you can eject the SD card. So this is the original Canon SD card. This camera won't accept the newest kind of cards that are out there, and so you have to be careful that you don't go buy something thinking you're going to be able to load up on memory and then it doesn't work. And I would suggest, I don't remember the details, so you can Google for the what is it, the A620 user's manual, and find all the information about what SD card. Alright, so I think that does it, and happy shooting.